Boxing's history is filled with rivalries and grudges that were largely played up to sell the fight. However, in the most personal series here on SmB Boxing, we take a look at the build-ups and bouts where the animosity between the fighters was 100% real.
You know the difference between one Mexican and the other one? This one has f***ing balls.
This is the underrated Bonfire Night Grudge match, the story of Errol Christie versus Kaylor. Born in Canning Town in London in 1961, Kaylor swept multiple junior boxing titles as a teenager, and 2 months before reaching the quarterfinals of the 1980s Olympics in Moscow, he won the senior ABA middleweight title at the age of 18.
So Kaylor, just 10 days before his 19th birthday, overwhelmed with joy at being the 1980 ABA middleweight champion.
Kaylor turned pro as a middleweight fighter in October 1980 with the backing of one of British boxing's best trainers and managers at the time, Terry Lawless. Training with the likes of future heavyweight champion Frank Bruno at the Royal Oak Gym in Canning Town, the tall and rangy West Ham football supporter Kaylor regularly fought in his team's claret and blue colors and adopted an aggressive style from early in his career, as he always looked to come forward behind a sharp jab and fire off powerful short shots when in range. The Londoner's relentless pressure often led to exciting wars where at times he showed vulnerability, but also unquestionable heart and warrior-like spirit.
4 punches put together by Kaylor there. Crossed him beautifully with the right. He put in the left first. I've never seen. So I first saw Kaylor was in the old NABC Championships. Oh, what a good right. And McEwen almost went, and now he has gone. He followed it up. Started the second round, 30 seconds in, and McEwen doesn't quite know where he is. Kaylor, West Ham, made a very sharp and brisk start to this fight. And Kaylor is almost going to circle with punches. Good right hand from Kaylor. And again Kaylor goes for his man in the fourth. And I think Nathan's going to stop it, and Nathan is stopping it, and Bobby Watts doesn't like that, and they're going on again on their own.
After winning 23 fights in a row, including 20 by stoppage, Kaylor challenged Roy Gums for his British and Commonwealth middleweight titles in September of 1983 at the Alexandra Pavilion in London.
Well, we've seen this before. Quite a bit of steering going on. So set then for 12 rounds now, not the 15 as it used to be.
The fight was seen as even through the first 3 rounds, but Gums badly hurt Kaylor near the end of the 4th session and scored a knockdown.
There, Kaylor. And Gums has done this in Commonwealth fights in the 4th round. There was a push at the finish there, but Brim was picking up the count from the timekeeper right next to me. 7, 8, made it clean. He was banging on the canvas there. Terry Lawless for Kaylor to get up and try and take the play away, and the bell has come to the rescue there. That's just when Kaylor needed to hear it.
After his impressive recovery from the knockdown, Kaylor, in trademark fashion, stepped up his offense and hammered Gums down to his knees with a 2-fisted attack midway through the 5th round.
Well, he's putting these together. He's cutting the champion down to size. What a turnaround in the 5th round with a minute to go. And Gums is pinned there in Kaylor's own corner. And can he hear this? No, he's counted him out. It looked as though he couldn't hear the count. The ring is absolutely going to be invaded. The security people up. And the Cockney hero, who looked as though he may not survive at one point in the round, came back in the 5th, and have you ever seen a happier face than that?
The win earned Kaylor his first pair of significant titles and catapulted him up the world middleweight rankings. However, in a tough non-title fight just 2 months later, Kaylor lost his unbeaten record when he was disqualified for knocking out Tony Serta after the bell at the end of the 9th round.
crusader has hit his jaw full on the floor. Kaylor, in his first fight as the British champion, is disqualified for hitting after the bell.
Kaylor quickly bounced back with 2 wins in the space of 4 months before taking on American Buster Drayton at London's Wembley Arena in April of 1984. Kaylor was the huge favorite to win, as Drayton was a late replacement opponent with 8 defeats in 28 fights and was the visibly smaller man, having moved up from junior middleweight to middleweight.
Mark Kaylor, 23 years old, just turned 23 2 days ago, record of 20, and Drayton came out to try to put a quick ending to it.
After Drayton opened up the fight with a wild air shot, Kaylor worked behind his persistent jab and found a home for a left hook to the body. However, Drayton never looked fazed by any punches he received and did look dangerous, as he occasionally found Kaylor's chin with an ungainly attack.
And we're final seconds, round 2, good right hand by Drayton just before the bell. Kaylor getting to the body now. Left hand by Drayton, followed by the roundhouse that did not connect.
Near the end of the 3rd round, Drayton wobbled Kaylor when he caught him on the temple with a right hand. Kaylor attempted to hold, but the American underdog spun him around and then sent him down to the canvas with a clubbing right hand to the back of the head.
Buster Drayton continues to let it all out, and he did put Kaylor. And he hurt Kaylor. He hurt him. And Kaylor put down.
After the referee dismissed both Kaylor's fall on the canvas and Drayton's illegal rabbit punch, the bell rung to signal the end of the round.
Final second goal.
Not a knockdown, not a knockdown.
Called a slip in the final seconds of the 3rd round.
Kaylor recovered well between rounds and became more aggressive in the fight, which led to him stunning Drayton in the 6th round with a counter jab.
Kaylor sensing the opportunity, going right back at Drayton.
Buster lunges if he doesn't hit you with a glove. Oh, good right hand by Buster Drayton.
Mark Kaylor again getting the left hand in, setting it up with the right. Oh, we go high and wide, coming from every conceivable angle, and Kaylor just caught him, and also just went low.
Drayton hurt. Drayton in a lot of trouble. Apparently he doesn't know how to clinch.
As the fight moved into the 7th round, Kaylor looked like he was just going to box his way to a comfortable points victory. However, exactly on the midway point of the stanza, Drayton whipped a left uppercut onto the jaw of the Londoner and sent him falling back against the ropes.
He just spit out his mouthpiece. Just said, "I'm all right." They didn't even count on him. I can't believe that.
As there was a no mandatory 8-count rule in effect, Kaylor was like a lamb to the slaughter, as Drayton put him down twice more and made him take a voluntary knee.
I can't believe they don't give him an 8 count.
And they both went down as Drayton went down in the follow-through.
Kaylor really should have been saved by his corner or the referee, but instead, Drayton left the Londoner in a sorry state under the bottom rope after he landed a booming right hand.
He just picked him up. I can't believe what this referee's doing.
And Kaylor put down again. There is no 3 knockdown rule, and it's all over. A major upset. Buster Drayton has stopped the British middleweight champion, Mark Kaylor, in round 7.
A bad defeat can either be the making or breaking of a fighter. Kaylor partly put the loss to Drayton down to a problem with his right hand, which he then had surgically repaired during a career-long 5-month break from the ring.
After that fight, I had a minor operation on my hand, which I've got the scars to prove. And I'm now punching with the full power of my right hand, which I couldn't do against Drayton. And when you fight a guy like that, you've got to be able to hurt them, and I wasn't able to do that.
Kaylor returned with a routine win over journeyman David Tote in October of 1984, which then set him up to fight Tony Simpson just a month later. The bout was billed as a winner-takes-all clash, with Kaylor making his first defenses of his British and Commonwealth middleweight titles and Simpson making the maiden defense of his European middleweight title in his second reign as champion.
And so, I mean, he can't make it. He can't get up. He's knocked out, and Simpson has won the European middleweight title.
Despite having 5 losses on his record, Simpson was only 3 years older than Kaylor and the favorite to win, as he was the far more experienced fighter, having already had 56 fights in his professional career, which included a win over former world champion Alan Minter in 1981 and a defeat in a WBC and WBA title tilt against Marvin Hagler in 1983.
I mean, I'm not overawed because I'm fighting the fight more experience than me. It doesn't worry me. I know what's in front of me and I know I can do it.
Going by both men's history in the ring, the fight was expected to be an explosive back-and-forth type battle, but it actually started out as a tactical affair. Kaylor, as usual, fought behind his jab, but was more patient and used it to try to keep the fight at range and set up his recently repaired right hand. In contrast, Simpson utilized good upper body movement to offset Kaylor and create openings for short hooks on the inside.
Good right from Kaylor. Simpson's nose is bleeding. He's ripping the hooks in. Good left hook from Simpson again.
After 10 rounds, a mixture of fatigue and the closeness of the fight prompted Kaylor and Simpson to go at it like what was expected before the first bell. The pattern change actually suited Kaylor more as he stunned Simpson in the 11th round and finished the bout strongly.
And there's the right hand from Kaylor, and for the first time, Simpson seemed to back off and didn't like it. Another good one, right uppercut this time. They put so much in over the previous 11 rounds. Locked together. Neither man prepared to give way. What a finish. What a fight. That's the end, and now we have to wait for the decision, and the two of them fall into each other's arms.
After 12 completed rounds, Simpson won by 2 points on the referee and the 2 judges' scorecards. The loss was far from a disgrace for Kaylor, but it was his 3rd defeat in 6 fights.
After 12 rounds, Simpson keeps his European title, and he adds the British and Commonwealth titles to it as well. Kaylor will be bitterly disappointed, but in no way can he blame himself. He put up the most magnificent fight.
Kaylor rebounded with 2 victories in the first 6 months of 1985, but needed a win over a significant opponent to truly get his career back on track.
Oh, he drove that right through, and he's never going to beat the count, not in a month of Sundays.
In October 1985, Kaylor got the chance to move in the right direction again when he was ordered to fight in a final eliminator for his old British middleweight title against a man with both a similar successful amateur background and an up-and-down journey so far as a prize fighter, Errol Christie.
From Coventry, Errol Christie.
Born in Coventry in 1963, Errol Christie started boxing at the age of 8, and his lengthy career in the unpaid ranks would see him captain the England amateur boxing team for 3 years and gain a place in the Guinness Book of World Records for being the only British boxer to win 10 amateur titles, which included winning the senior ABA light middleweight title in 1981 and the European under-19 title in 1982.
Over the top. Got it. Christie's got Lithgow. A right and then a left. Lithgow hurt. And Christie may have him going. And the punches are raining in on Lithgow's head. But he's got him again. Lithgow hurt with the left, just as he was in the second.
The winner
And ABA champion at light middleweight for 1981, Christie in
Errol
the red
Christie,
corner.
17 years old, wins his 41st bout in a row, and he adds the ABA senior title to that string of schoolboy and junior titles he's already won.
Christie entered the pro game as a middleweight fighter in November 1982 with a lot of fanfare and was almost immediately dubbed by some as the golden boy of British boxing and Britain's answer to Sugar Ray Leonard.
Do you see yourself as an up-and-coming Sugar Ray Leonard?
Oh really, I just see myself as myself, Errol Christie. I can move, I can make people look silly, and I can outbox people, but I think they're wrong putting me with Sugar Ray Leonard.
In truth, as there are levels in boxing, the early comparisons to Leonard were a bit unfair on Christie. But style-wise, there's no doubt that the Coventry man had some similarities to the American superstar, as defensively, he mainly relied on his reflexes and slick footwork to avoid serious trouble, and offensively, he possessed a solid jab and had a lot of variety and power when he let his hands go.
With the coagulates. But if James has spotted it, that'll encourage him a little bit. Oh, he's really picking them off as he wants. I wouldn't dare saddle a young fighter like this as a comparison with Sugar Ray Leonard, but really there are at times when he produces stuff like the up-and-coming Leonard anyway.
Yeah, he's so flashy, and as I say, it has the American style, but I like.
They've said in James's corner, go out and have a go this round, otherwise we'll pull you out. But there's no need for that. He stopped it before he hit the floor. The left hook was the final punch. He had his fling, James. But what a good winner that was. He turned it on when the other man was throwing all the leather at him.
It appeared that all of the hype surrounding Christie was real, as he stopped 12 of his first 13 opponents, and even had legendary trainer Emanuel Stewart in his corner in several outings in America, after impressing him while sparring high-profile fighters such as Thomas Hearns at Detroit's renowned Kronk Gym. The spars were actually said to be more like wars, and as a show of respect, Christie was granted the right to wear the coveted Kronk golden shorts in his fights.
Christie's so relaxed. Been working out here in America for the last couple of months or so. That's a great right hand from Christie, and White is already in severe trouble in this opening round. Great right hand from Christie, and White holding on. Christie really showing punching power of a totally different dimension, cutting through White's guard, and again White's head is jolted back, and is Christie going to finish it here in the third? White looking very unsteady, his mouth's open, he's hurt and cut too, so easily to him. Good right hand over the top. Again White on the retreat, he's shipping a lot of punishment. He's quite a game lad, Stan White. Oh, stopped a good short left as he came in with wild swinging punches, really. And Christie light on his feet, dominating overhand right. And I think he's taken the doctor in there, his referee. There's a referee, and that's it. Another very good performance from Errol Christie. 13 on the trot now. But there might be people back in Britain who would like to see you further extended than perhaps you were here in Las Vegas. What would you say to them?
Well, you know, I'm looking forward to go 10 rounds, you know. I mean, with Manuel and Bert on my side, you know, I just can't go wrong.
After impressively dispatching Stan White in his Las Vegas debut, Christie returned to England for his next fight against Jose Sayes, who had an 8-pound size advantage but was a wild swinging journeyman.
Errol Christie then coming up for his 14th fight.
As he had been so dominant in his first 13 outings, Christie's chin had barely been tested. However, major doubts over the Coventry man's punch resistance were raised when Sayes shockingly ended his unbeaten run inside a minute.
The amateurs in the World Cup, and he knocked him down 3 times, but hasn't fought anybody like Christie, but he's let him go. What do you know about this? It's the first time that I've seen him down in 25 seconds of the first round. This wild southpaw is really knocking over what we all consider the best coach in the country, and Larry O'Connell has stopped it in the first round. What a sensational fight this is. He said today, Jose Sayes said, why is this little fellow fighting me? I thought he was a light heavyweight. He only weighed 11'10" against 12 stone 4. Jim, what do you think of that?
Oh, it was a good decision by the referee. That's what's known as being caught cold. Christie didn't get a chance to get into the fight. Sayes just started throwing bombs straight away. One landed, and that was the end of the story. As soon as that first punch landed, the fight was over.
Nobody likes 1-round knockouts and 1-round stoppages. And manager Burt McCarthy will need some persuasive words now to say to Errol, well, now come on, this is where you've really got to get stuck in again.
To his credit, Christie responded well to his first professional defeat and let his fist do the talking as he knocked out all of his next 7 opponents within 3 rounds.
Oh, what a right-hand shot. Right from his chin to his boots that went. And he's got to stop this. Taking that punch on the chin, wondering where he is. And he's not going to be there long. No, it's all over, and it's quicker than last time. Oh, the right hand dropped him right on the bell there. The halfway mark, the 30 seconds to go. And he's not going to make this in the second round, I don't think. He was flagging as he got on the ropes.
The ferocious KO streak earned Christie a final eliminator fight for the British middleweight title against an opponent that he had been calling out for several months, Mark Kaylor.
The 2 boxers were ordered back and made to shake hands, which they did through gritted teeth. It was very, very nasty.
In the summer in England in 1985, there had been major riots in Birmingham, London, and Liverpool due to racial tension and inequality.
Some continued to blame insensitive policing for sparking off the riots.
When we wanted the jobs to be black policemen in a 72, 73, 74, they never want to give us the job. Now they're offering the jobs, the kids and don't want the jobs. Yeah, it's a mental problem. It's not just an ordinary problem, man. They will make it look like it's an ordinary problem. Look at it.
The recent Broadwater farm riots in Tottenham, London, were dominating the UK news when Christie and Kaylor were brought together on October 9th for an ill-fated pre-fight press conference at a casino that was also in the UK's capital city. During a question-and-answer session at the presser, Kaylor told a reporter that he was annoyed at Christie for the way he recently called him out. But other than that, there wasn't any signs of bad blood between the 2 fighters. After all the talking was done, Christie and Kaylor then brought the press conference to an end with a face-off for the photographers in the room, which was said to have been tense but finished without incident. As the 2 fighters then went their separate ways, Christie jokingly told the photographers that he had come out on top of the head-to-head. At first, Kaylor didn't react to the seemingly harmless quip and chatted to someone across the room. However, a short while later, he stormed back over to a now seated Christie and whispered 3 words into his ear. Both fighters have different recollections of exactly what 3 words were whispered. Christie has always maintained that one of the 3 words Kaylor used was a racial slur, but Kaylor has always denied his claims. One thing is for certain, though. Whatever was muttered sparked punches to be thrown and both men to grapple on the floor before they were pulled apart by another British middleweight fighter at the time, Errol Graham. Already in trouble and facing fines, Christie and Kaylor were not finished with each other as the lack of security allowed them to come together once more for an unofficial face-off outside the casino, which was then quickly followed by Kaylor trying to push Christie into a fountain and both men brawling and wrestling in the street. The chaos that ensued at the press conference unfortunately led to some of the ongoing racial tension throughout England at the time attaching itself to the British title eliminator, and as a result, there were calls for the UK sports minister to ban the bout, and the police also wanted it called off. However, 9 days after their bare-knuckled dust-ups, Christie and Kaylor eased the backlash with a series of hand-shaking publicity stunts in which they barely looked at each other. The British title eliminator then continued to move forward with a record purse at the time of $82,000 at stake and a fitting date for the grudge match to be settled, Bonfire night.
And it might just happen again. A firework explodes in the arena.
As expected, the rival fans inside Wembley Arena on fight night made the atmosphere toxic. For obvious reasons, alcohol was banned, and there was a heavy police presence, especially around ringside. Kaylor's trainer and manager Terry Lawless even hired notorious West Ham football hooligan Cass Pennant and 16 of his doorman friends to keep a lookout for any troublemakers in the crowd.
I got in touch with several people that I know that go to the football grounds and things like that, and we employed a firm to just keep things calm.
When the television broadcast began, Christie was already in the ring as Kaylor climbed through the ropes and immediately got the Coventry man's attention with an over-the-top salute to his fans.
And these 2 come to an arena that tonight is guarded by the most massive police presence. There are police guarding every entrance. They're guarding the barricaded ringside. There is no alcohol on sale. There's been no fanfares. The whole build-up is being kept to a minimum. And so the fight that started with a brawl between these two outside a gaming club in London a month ago now reaches the place where it should be, in the professional boxing ring.
From the opening bell, both fighters set off at a breakneck pace with clear bad intentions on their minds. Inside 30 seconds, Kaylor literally drew first blood when he floored and cut Christie with a piercing right hand.
Christie, loser of just one professional fight. And over goes Christie in the opening 30 seconds. And his legs have gone. Kaylor's got him inside the first minute.
After jumping up quickly and barely taking a count, Christie was dazed and wisely smothered Kaylor to regain his senses. The pulsating start was then perfectly summed up with a loud bang from a firework in the crowd.
And it might just happen again. A firework explodes in the arena, and the Kaylor fans are going berserk with excitement. And these two swapping punches as though there's no tomorrow. A needle fight, a grudge fight. It's plain for all to see.
As the already dramatic opener approached its final minute, there was another twist in the plot, as Christie evened up the knockdown score when he dropped Kaylor down to a knee with a blurring 1-2 combination.
And this time Kaylor goes over. Delayed action, right hand got him, so they've been down once apiece in the opening round.
Doing the opposite of what Christie had done when he touched the canvas, Kaylor took a few seconds to rise, but Christie didn't allow him to hold to clear his head and forced the Londoner to stand in the pocket and trade blows with him until the bell to end the round sounded.
What a start to this fight. Christie now going for the finish. He nearly lost the fight in the opening minute, and now he's right back in it. About 15 seconds left of this opening round, and what an opening round it is. And Christie's still punching at the bell, and Kaylor didn't like that, and Harry Gibbs goes over to Kaylor and says, just calm down.
After the thrilling first 3 minutes, the pace of the fight incredibly didn't dip. Both men got behind their jabs and landed a fair share of hurtful lead hands. But Kaylor was undoubtedly the stronger and better fighter on the inside, while Christie's superior hand speed clearly gave him the edge when the bout was fought at mid-range.
At this moment, Kaylor finds him with the right though. Must be even money now, which way this goes. Good right hand again from Christie. The most experienced referee in Britain has been brought in to look after this, and it's needed, Harry Gibbs.
Near the midway point of round 3, both men threw right hands, but it was only Christie's that connected and put Kaylor on the deck for the second time in the fight.
A low one again from Kaylor. Oh, and he's got Kaylor over. Round 3, second time Kaylor's been down.
With his second fall to the canvas being more of a flash knockdown, Kaylor swiftly recovered and then rocked Christie down to his boots with a right hand to the temple in the final few seconds of the round.
Kaylor's come up off the floor to win in other fights. There's a good right. Christie falls into the clinch. If he hadn't fallen into the clinch, he'd have been on the floor. So Kaylor strikes back again. And Gibbs can barely part them. Christie's hurt. There's the bell. And Christie is glad to sag onto his stool. What an amazing fight this is.
Spurred on by his success at the end of the third round, Kaylor really pushed the action and outworked Christie to bank rounds 4 and 5. To erase any doubts in the judges' minds, the Londoner punctuated his dominance near the end of each stanza by once again wobbling Christie and forcing him to hold.
The two men just bludgeoning each other. There's no other word for it, and Kaylor's getting at him again. There's not been a moment when these two have rested. Kaylor is the man with the look of victory on him at the moment. There is some fearful punishment being exchanged. A more aggressive punching coming now from Kaylor. There's the right hand again. The bell's coming up. And they haven't heard the bell, and on they go, and Kaylor has to be pushed back to his corner. Christie comes over as though he's going to have an argument, and is taken away by seconds. And Gibbs has now given Kaylor 2 cautions about exchanging punches after the bell.
Seconds out, round 5.
And those first 4 rounds have flown by. So much into the first 4.5 rounds that the pace, naturally enough, is slowing a little. Or is it? And Christie in trouble again. And he puts another one in at the bell, and he finishes the round well on top, Kaylor. Well on top now.
The pace of the fight dropped off for the first time in the 6th round, but then exploded back into life in a brutal back-and-forth 7th session in which Christie and Kaylor stunned each other several times.
Kaylor now is heavily greased above the eyes, and he sits all here at Wembley. And Christie sees his chance again, and Kaylor looks hurt. Kaylor's put so much work into the opening 6 rounds. And somehow, from somewhere, Kaylor finds the strength to come swinging back. Good short right from Christie. This time Christie finishes on top with the right hand. These two men are giving everything in this fight.
After they had put so much into the first 7 rounds, Christie and Kaylor were both showing signs of fatigue. With each exchange of punches, the fight increasingly looked like it was only one clean shot away from ending, and that proved to be true in the final few seconds of the 8th stanza.
Again and again, these two men seem to reach down into the very deep reserves of strength. Kaylor's got him. He's got him. And this must surely be the end. 8th round. Christie sprawled all over the floor, clawing his way to the corner. He's not got up, he's out. And Mark Kaylor has won this fight eliminator. He stands on the ropes and acclaims the cheers of this big Wembley crowd. Kaylor has won the Grudge battle.
After their hellacious battle, Christie and Kaylor showed everything that is good about boxing as they embraced and raised each other's arms.
And there's no further animosity between the two men. They've punched it out of each other. Christie acknowledges defeat, and Kaylor accepts victory.
Both fighters' good sportsmanship then paved the way for Wembley Arena to be peacefully cleared without any trouble.
Tonight, Mark Kaylor was the better man.
What was good to see was that at the end, they fell into each other's arms, it was all okay, and all the animosity had gone.
Harry, tonight Errol Christie lost, but boxing won.
Christie and Kaylor didn't conduct any post-fight interviews on the night of their memorable encounter, but Kaylor appeared the next day on ITV's Sport Night and praised Christie's performance, and also addressed the sportsmanship the pair showed to each other at the conclusion of the bout.
And he boxed probably better than I've ever seen him. His televised fights, he boxed better against me than I've ever seen him.
Then, as Harry said at the end of the fight, the hugs and the handshakes, and you did appear after all the pre-fight trouble to have a genuine regard for each other.
Yeah, we were, as I said before, we're just two good athletes, and we showed that we're two good sportsmen as well.
2 weeks later, Christie and Kaylor were pictured together, leaving the British Boxing Board of Control office in London after being fined for their pre-fight brawl. Kaylor was fined £15,000 as he admitted throwing the first punch inside the casino, while Christie was fined £5,000 for his part in the unofficial dust-up. The pictures were the last time that Christie and Kaylor were ever seen together, and both men would go on to never fully fulfill their potential in the ring.
For Kaylor, it may be the end of the line. He really did try everything he knew here. You take your hat off to him.
Despite beating Christie in the final eliminator, Kaylor didn't actually fight for the British middleweight belt again, and instead lost a European title challenge against Errol in November of 1986.
What about the future, Mark? What does that hold for you?
The future now holds a talk with $3 manager. I don't want to box anymore at 11 stone 6. You know, I have to draw out to make 11 stone 6, and perhaps the super middleweight would be more comfortable for me in the future.
After making it clear that he was struggling to make the middleweight limit, Kaylor spent the rest of his career fighting in both the super middleweight and light heavyweight divisions. With the extra poundage, the Londoner had some decent wins, but every time he got another shot at a European title, he came away empty-handed.
Or will Kaylor prove us all wrong? Cook really has put together some very, very good work, like that. And then a right. Kaylor is covering up, and the towel has been put in. You're not officially allowed to do that. The referee should stop the fight. Does Kaylor want to be stopped? We have some controversy here that Jimmy Tips threw in the towel. That was surrender. What it means is that James Cook is still the European super middleweight champion. For Kaylor, it may be the end of the line. He really did try everything he knew here.
After losing to James Cook in what was his 4th overall attempt at winning a European title in June of 1991, Kaylor retired from boxing at the age of 30 and finished with a record of 40 wins, 7 losses, and 1 draw.
What a sad sight that is. But this fellow has no need to feel any sadness.
And that, I think, might well be the last time we ever see Errol Christie in a professional boxing ring.
Following the Bonfire night defeat to Kaylor, Christie was never quite the same fighter again and never even fought for a major title.
Errol still has all the punching power and all the ability, but his confidence took a terrible knock after the Kaylor fight.
Christie recorded a good win over former world title challenger Sean Mannion in October of 1986. But the victory was followed by several stoppage defeats that ultimately cost the Coventry man showdowns for meaningful belts against fighters in both the middleweight and super middleweight divisions.
With a minute to go, and it's all over. Mike Jacobs deciding the compassionate way out. A real upset for Errol Christie.
As his career waned, Christie was not helped by a condition he developed in his calves called compartment syndrome, which caused him to have a severe cramping pain in his lower leg muscles in some fights. However, in truth, Christie's main weakness as a fighter was always his punch resistance.
The one thing people will be saying, I'm afraid, is can you really take a punch? Your chin looked a bit wobbly tonight, to say the least.
You know, that my mind from the start of the fight wasn't right. My mind wasn't in the fight.
After winning just one of his last 5 fights, Christie hung up his gloves for good at the age of 29 and finished with a record of 32 wins, 8 losses, and 1 draw.
And that, I think, might well be the last time we ever see Errol Christie in a professional boxing ring. In a funny sort of way, Jim, I hope that he does now, if you like, take the hint and call it a day.
Now, I've got both Errol and Mark waiting and live together. It is, I think, about the first time they've actually done this proper thing together since that night.
On the 25th anniversary of their unforgettable battle, Christie, who was in London promoting his autobiography, and Kaylor, who was now living in California, were reunited over the phone on Steve Bunce's Boxing Hour radio show. Kaylor was quick to express his respect for Christie, and although he apologized for his part in their street fight, he put a slice of the blame on somebody not doing their job properly.
Yeah, I'd like to say, hello Mark, and I hope everything's going well. You hope your health is good.
I'm doing very well, thank you. Listen, Errol, I just have to say before we start, I have so much respect for you, and especially years later, you're a real tough guy to beat, and I have nothing but respect for you. The first fight, you know, it's just, I was a young guy and in my early 20s, and I had a quick temper, and I apologize. I was wrong, but somebody wasn't doing their job properly. You know, just why would we be allowed to get that close to each other? Especially knowing I did have a quick temper, and I don't feel 100% responsible for it.
The radio reunion remained respectful throughout, with Christie and Kaylor even talking about meeting up in person for an event and jokingly discussing having another fight.
Well, if you want me to come back, I'd rather fight 10 rounds with Errol rather than 12.
Yeah, this time we do it over 10, not over 12.
Yeah, 10 rounds would suit me more. Yeah.
Well, Mark, let me ask you this. What weight are you now?
I weigh 190 pounds of muscle. I don't have an ounce of fat on me, and I'm ready to go.
All right, let me ask you, how much do you weigh now?
I'm 92.
Listen, I'm going to tell you this now. I'm going to state it on fact here. I'm not letting either of you two anywhere near a boxing ring. And if you do anything touring next year, I'm not even going to have a boxing ring in the vicinity of you two. I'm going to have a table with bow ties and people smiling, clapping your hands, shaking your hands, and putting a nice few quid in your pockets.
I think I misunderstood why you wanted me to come back.
Despite the positive signs, Kaylor and Christie would never be reunited again, and sadly in 2017, Christie passed away after a long battle with lung cancer. Although he never won a title as a professional prize fighter, Christie is still thought of as one of the most talented boxers to ever come out of Britain, and his brilliant amateur achievements will always stand the test of time.
What are your memories of Errol Christie specifically?
A sweetheart, yes. He was gentle, he was sweet, he was, you know, you'd never know he was a fighter.
As of the date of this video, Kaylor is still thought to be living in California with his American wife Patricia and 3 sons, having first moved across the pond in 1996. And as revealed on Steve Bunce's Boxing Hour radio show, he is still presumably working part-time as a boxing coach and an aerobics instructor.